Hey, yo, what's good, everyone? Twisted here with the Open Sorcery, and today I want to go ahead and talk about an acronym that you can keep in mind for using in reflection or self-therapy or assessment or anything of the sort when you're trying to figure out, alright, I feel something's off. What is it? What's going on with me? However subtle or how, overbearing of a feeling and the thoughts of it may be. But yes, so in terms of that, the particular acronym is WHY, capital W.H.Y, and that stands for Who Hurt You? So with this, right, think back to when you were a child, right? How you, or like other children, would continually ask people, why did this happen? Why does that do what it does? And so on, right? And pretty much just like asking continually why over and over and over and over and over again. And doing that, it probably got a little bit annoying for, your parents or, uncles, aunts, grandparents, whomever you may be around that was being subject to this manner of questioning. But the source of it all, right, is that curiosity that is driven by, an inner flame that continued to burn of, wonderment with the world, not necessarily knowing what exactly this material reality was all about, right? Like the world that we live in. When you're younger, obviously you pop out as a baby, you don't know nothing, and you're not necessarily able to express, and then you hit a certain point, hit a certain age, the ability to speak, to ask these questions, and then, you just go ahead and you let them fly and all of that, hoping that you get a better understanding of what the situation is. So in that sort of sense, right, you're living within a natural state of malleability and receptiveness, which is coinciding this desire to learn and seek knowledge. And that is because of having that manner of malleability and receptiveness, that goes ahead and whatever answers you receive are going to shape your world through the lens of perception that, your own perception. The way that the world is shaped by your own perception. What have you, right? Everybody sees things differently. Even if it's a very small, minute amount, right? Most of us can agree, the sky is blue, right? But for the particular hue, the particular shade of it, there may be, for those who happen to be a bit more color sensitive, you can say, oh, it's a sky blue. Oh, it's a, sort of aqua blue or something like that. Some people say it's purple, some say it's green, depending on what time of day. It can be orange, pink, red, all of that, but the bottom line being, once again, your perception shapes your reality. And by asking these questions at a young age, that goes ahead and is more so taking that Play-Doh of your perception and giving it a little bit more structure and concrete form. So how does that particularly apply to the acronym of WHY, W-H-Y, Who Hurt You, right? Well, pretty much you're going ahead and calling upon and utilizing the curiosity of that inner child within yourself, however in touch you are with it, or however much you need to go ahead and reclaim it, how much you need to go ahead and access it once again, heal it, all that sort of stuff, right? All the terminology and phrases, the buzzwords I can think of from, therapy and psychology and all these sort of mental health things, right? But by continually asking why, that is definitely one effective means that you can go ahead and, figure it out. What is going on with you in your mental space, in how you feel, if something's bothering you, if something is getting to you. Of course, obviously, if you want to investigate why you feel positively as well, but, usually people look for tools when it comes to, oh, something doesn't feel right or something doesn't feel good. So yes, you can go ahead and do this towards yourself, or, you can have someone else ask why continually in conversation with you if needed, right? So, sometimes it's not easiest for us to go ahead and recognize things or realize things for ourselves. we need that external stimuli because, we don't take time to be self-isolate, to, reflect, to meditate. And it doesn't necessarily mean you got to be doing any sort of poses or being like om or anything like that, but just meditation as in just mentally observing yourself, mental observation. But yes, in terms of the continually asking of why, it can be done mentally, as I just stated. It can be done textually, right? And by that, you can write it down, you can type it in your phone, you can go ahead and do that sort of whatever medium happens to work through it, right? Whether you're just taking notes for yourself or you're having a conversation with someone else. You can do it verbally, which is likely going to be the method if you're doing it with someone else, what have you, or even if you want to speak aloud to yourself. And then even visually. So in this sort of sense, if you're more so a visually oriented person and or creative, you can go ahead and draw it out and be like, all right, why do I feel this way? And then draw out a visual representation of it and what have you. Or not just drawing it, but, go ahead and make a digital art version or sculpt it out or, however solid you want to go ahead and make it. But yes, doing this, it can likely feel repetitive each time you go ahead and question yourself and all of that, right? It can make it a bit boring, a bit draining. But truth be told, right, as you dig deeper, there's a good chance that you'll gain more understanding and you get to learn about, why somebody or something bothers you, And, of course, obviously, it can be understanding why someone makes you feel good, too. Like, if you're wondering, why do I like this person? Or, what is it about this person that gives me good feelings? If you don't realize that you have romantic feelings for someone, or, you're just curious as to, why does this friend make me feel better than other friends, or maybe family members? I don't know. That's just cite some general examples. But, of course, using this manner of self-assessment can be very helpful. But, at least staying with that, hey, look, people are looking for tools when they don't feel as good, what have you, right? This sort of framework, right? I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of a caveat here, and a little bit of a spoiler alert, and all that sort of thing, which isn't really that big of a spoiler. If you've been more so on the side of, self-reflecting and, going through and trying to assess your own issues and stuff prior to listening to this monologue, recording, what have you. But I'll go ahead and put the spoiler alert there in case you want to go ahead and have a manner of surprise and or not necessarily have expectations for this manner of questioning, what have you, for you to pause and or, stop the recording itself. But 3, 2, 1. So, here we go once again. Spoiler alert. The person who hurt you is yourself. So, and going ahead and saying that, right? One of these, self-help inspirational images from a while back, I forget exactly where I had found it at, but it pretty much goes ahead and makes reference to a supposed quote, does not state whom it's by or what passage it's from, what have you, but written on it is this. A sage was asked, "What is anger?" He gave a beautiful answer. It is punishment we give to ourselves for someone else's mistake. So, in going ahead and seeing that and reading it and reflecting on it, right? While it is speaking about anger as a particular sort of emotion, right? And that specifically, it can be expanded to deal with all negative emotions which don't really serve us. So, in that sense, right? Recognizing the anger, sadness, pain, hurt, suffering, anything like that. It is recognizing that while we can't control others' actions because we're not them, nor do we have dominance over their own free will, we can observe our own emotions and thought patterns, right? In doing so, you can decide to improve yourself and not be a victim to them, establishing mental habits to mitigate the harmful responses that you think, you feel, you act out, where you're not in the best headspace and mood. And, honestly, in doing that, right, like, you recognize, oh, shit, if I just go ahead and keep myself a little bit more so grounded, or, to use that buzzword term, or just keep myself a little bit more so in a state of continual observation of myself, to recognize, why do I act and behave certain ways? And then when you recognize and see that pattern, take the actual step, have the courage to go ahead and change those patterns by establishing mental habits over time to go ahead and counteract these more so naturalistic responses when they are not necessarily serving you and are more so disruptive in a negative manner. Then you can go ahead and not get shaken up as easily by the actions of others, and also from yourself if you happen to be self-deprecating quite a bit. If you are your own worst enemy, which tends to be the case, quite often, if not for all of us, but, in all honesty, you can go ahead and curtail that. You have the power. Your emotions do not need to be master unto you, right? You can go ahead and be master unto your emotions in regards to them not serving you. There are negative emotions that can be beneficial when you tap into them, when you allow yourself to feel them, to go through a grieving process, right? Of, say, someone passing, and you feeling it, and you releasing, and all of that. There is benefit to it. But this is a tool to be utilized in assessing why it is that something is bothering you, how it feels, what have you. And if you recognize that, hey, look, feeling this way is not going to be a beneficial release, and you're kind of going in a cycle. You're continually going in a spiral that over and over and over and over again, either gets worse or just continues staying the same, right? You can go ahead and break free of that. You don't need to be entrapped by it, what have you. And yeah, so figure it out. Go ahead and ask yourself the question of why continually. W.H.Y, who hurt you? And figure out what's going on with yourself. Give yourself that self-diagnosis. You have the ability, you have the tools to be able to do so. And this is one of them. At least for me, and at least for, others that, when I've gone ahead and brought about this acronym and used it over time, they kind of, adopted the meme for themselves as well. And went ahead and, use it as a tool and have seen some benefit from it to whatever degree or scale. I'm not going to speak for those individuals, what have you. But yes, also, alongside this, not just for a sense of like, oh, there's something wrong with me, or oh, I'm feeling a certain emotion. Just carry that curiosity of being a child, having an inner child inside of you, that inner flame, wanting to seek out knowledge, to learn more, to grow, to expand, all of that. Allow that to be harnessed, to be cherished, to go ahead and be continually lit for yourself, and also for others to see and shine brightly. Like, there's something about this person, that intangible, that it factor. But yes, continue to ask those questions so you can grow, so you can learn more, so you can expand and become a better version of yourself. Once again, W.H.Y, who hurt you? But yeah, this is Twisted with Open Sorcery, and stay frosty, Neguses. Peace.